Okay.
Yeah, record it first and then say it's so exciting.
This is so exciting. Yeah, I'm so happy to be here. And isn't technology just fantastic? The fact that, I mean, my gosh, we've got people from all over the place. Like,
yes.
it's just, I just
the
love
US,
it. Love
India,
it.
Canada. Wow.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So I want to welcome Angie, and I'm just so excited to have her be doing this training with you, because when I found out that she's actually done many 10-week study groups online, she's done 30 altogether.
What?
10-week study groups,
wow,
in person and online. So I think that's pretty amazing. So you deserve a hand for that. Absolutely. Yeah, fantastic. So I want to just read a little introduction for her background, and you may have heard the accent. She is from Australia. So Angie's background is in training, program development, and document design, and formal qualifications in information technology, and 30 years experience delivering workshops and computer applications, and for the last 10 years in Heal Your Life, which is great. She did the facilitator workshop leader training with Susie Mulholland in Australia, and then Rick and I were down there in 2009, same year, to do the coach training. So she did that with Rick and I. Her dream is to make a difference through education and delivering Heal Your Life suites of the workshops and the programs. And through this Zoom and Heal Your Life, she can, and in person, she can achieve that. While in Canberra, Angie, they probably don't know where Canberra is, most people. That's like southern Australia, right?
It is,
yeah.
And it's cold.
And it's cold. While in Canberra, Angie led a variety of workshops, including the 2-day Heal Your Life workshop, the 10-week program, Loving Yourself Even More, the prosperity workshops, and Ordering from the Cosmic Kitchen. In 2015, she relocated to the coastal community of Kingscliff on the southern end of the Gold Coast, which is sort of north and east. I've been there. It's beautiful. It's warm. Yes, a lot of the time.
It's warm. It's paradise. Yes.
And it is. It's beautiful. And at this time, she's putting together her knowledge and running the 10-week study group and the prosperity workshops using Zoom. Like I said before, she's led 30 10-week study groups, some in person, some online, between 5 to 10 people in each class. And she loves seeing the transformation in her clients when they attend Heal Your Life, and now online can attract more clients and make a bigger difference. So welcome, Angie, and I'm so glad we ended up talking about that when I met with you a few months ago. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Thank you, Patricia. I know, like I say, it's so exciting. And just to be able to, I'm so excited to share this with you so that we can jointly make such a difference. Like, isn't it amazing? We'll be able to get out there and, gosh, help so many people. So it's just, yeah, wonderful, wonderful. So first of all, what I'm going to do is actually share my screen. I've got some PowerPoint slides, and I'll talk to you about that as well as we're going through, but I'm just going to share the screen. So, okay, so can you all see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah.
Perfect. All right. So, okay, so what I want to cover today basically is there's 3 parts to it. So the first part is that I'm going to actually talk about Zoom and its features. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to be talking about how that you can use Zoom as a facilitator. So how does it work? How do you work the breakout rooms? How do you do all of those things? And, you know, what settings that you need to have, how to work with different time zones, because most likely you're not going to have people all coming from your country. You could have people from anywhere in the world. So how do you work with those different time zones? How do you set up recurring type meetings so that you don't have to, every time you run something, recreate another meeting? You want to make it as easy as you can and as simple as you can. You don't want to have to do a lot of work. So setting up recurring meetings are a fantastic way to do that. And yeah, how to share screens, how to record, and all of those things. So we're going to be talking about all of those things, and then specifically how to run the 10-week program. All right, so what do you need to do to run it? All right, so that's really what we're going to cover. So before I start, you know, how does that sound to you? Like, does that sound great?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, sounds great.
Yay.
Sounds good.
Awesome. So let me ask you then, how many, now I just have to stop the sharing of the screen, because when you share, what happens is that I only see a portion of the people who are actually on the screen. So I just have to stop it for a second so I can see all of you. Okay, so now let me ask you, how many of you have actually used Zoom before?
I have.
Yeah? Let me go to the second.
I have, as a participant, yes.
As a participant, but you've actually, some of you, who has never ever been on, this is the first time that you've actually hopped onto Zoom.
Yep.
Great.
Great. Let me go to the other screen. There's two screens here. Sorry, can you hold your hands up again? Who has never done it? Okay.
Well, just the one Heal Your Life that Patricia and Rick did.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Never mind.
We did a post training Zoom with everybody from last October. Yeah.
Ah, okay. Oh, good. And how many, so this is the next question then, how many of you have run the 10-week program before?
Babu, you had your hand up?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Okay, great. Oh, and Erica has too.
Okay, good.
All right, that's good. That's great. And this is going to really help you a lot, because I'm going to be talking about how you do it. How do you start? If you've never done it and you've just received the handouts from Patricia, how do you actually get it ready? So that's what we're going to talk about too. So this will be really beneficial in that way. And then the next one is, how many of you have actually run a program online? Jeannie? Patricia?
Yep.
Michelle? Okay, cool. That's good. Oh, that's good. So this is going to really help them, because we're talking about how you use all of that. So wonderful. All right. So I'm going to go back and share the screen again. Okay. So first of all then, let's talk about Zoom. So you're probably aware you're all on Zoom. So Zoom is a platform. It's an application that you can use to run online meetings. You can use it to run webinars. You can run classes. I do a lot of one-on-one coaching with Zoom. I really like that. It's a really great tool for that. You can, yeah. And like Patricia was saying, you know, you can connect with family. You can use it on a personal level. Yeah, I very rarely now use a telephone in any way to talk to people. I would prefer to use Zoom any day over a telephone, because you can see people. You can, you know, you can read the body language. You know what's going on. It's much, much better. I just love it, you know, for all of that. So that's what Zoom is itself. It's also has so many features that we spoke about. So, you know, you can record and do messaging, and you can have the breakout rooms. And so there's a lot of features as well. And
Can't hear.
Oop. Angie, we can't hear you.
Can't hear you.
You need to unmute yourself.
well, thank you. Now, I don't know how that happened, but I might have pressed it when I was sharing the screen. See, there you go. See, things can happen, so you don't worry about it. When you're training, you know, that's what happens. You just got to go with the flow. All right. So, all right. So where did I get to?
You were off where it says free versus paid.
Yes. Did I talk about the fact that you can use it on did you hear that? You can use it on telephones, you can use it on laptops and tablets and all of those things?
Yeah, didn't hear it, but we could see that one.
Ah, good.
Yeah, we can see that.
Perfect. Okay, so you can have there's two versions. There's a free version and a paid version. Now, the difference between the two really is that the free version, you're limited to 40 minutes when you're doing a group situation. You can have one-on-one, it's unlimited, and the features are pretty much like what you need is okay on a free version. However, you're limited to 40 minutes. So that's not really going to work if you're wanting to be doing like the 10-week program or any other work online, because it usually takes more than 40 minutes. So the paid version is unlimited meeting time, and, you know, it's really affordable. It works out to about $15 US a month. So it's really, worth every single cent that you pay to have it, you know, and you really can't do it if you don't have it. So have many of you got your own accounts?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, so a few have, yeah. So that's the first thing that you'll need to do, is to actually go and get your own account. All right, so that's the first action step, is to get your own Zoom account. To do that, when you go onto zoom.us, one of the options at the top of the screen says plans, and you can click on that and it will show you the plan, the pro plan, which is sort of the next one up from the meeting, and you can sort of join it there. You can sign up and get access straight away. So once you've got your own account, you've got it, the next part is that you need to access your account, and that's where you're going to be setting up your own profile. You're going to be setting up initial settings, and then you get ready to go. So in the handout, I'm actually going to send you, or Patricia's going to send you a handout, and I have listed the settings that you need to have on. Right, so that will give you, then you can, when you get your own account, you can go, okay, well, I need to set this on and that and this and that, you know, whatever it is. So that's all there for you in writing. But for now, I'm going to go through it. I can't show you online how to do it because you can't actually have Zoom running and have the settings open at the same time. So that's why it's all done by PowerPoint slides at the moment. But then when we actually are going into Zoom and I show you the features of Zoom, then we'll go live and we'll be doing things live. So that's, yeah, so you'll be getting time to access and actually do things. So to actually then go into your account, you would go into zoom.us and you'll notice in the top right-hand corner that it says My Account. So you would click on My Account and it will open up your profile. Now, if you have a look at the screen, so this is your account, you'll notice in the, I don't know if you can see my mouse. Can you see the mouse moving?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you'll see on the left-hand side menu pane there that you have that menu pane, and the top three are probably the things that you would do the most, right? You would look at your profile. You would be looking at, oops, where's the mouse gone? Settings, your meeting settings. So this is where we're going to set them all up. And then the third option down is My Meetings, and that's where you open that up to access any meetings that you have set up already. Right? So we're going to go through basically those three options first, and then we're going to get into Zoom. All right. It's exciting, isn't it? You all excited? Yeah. Okay, so in the profile, what you'll notice is, first of all, it has your name. So you would set up your name and your personal details, so your telephone number and things like that. You can set up an image, and you'll see that whatever photo you put in that profile is the one that shows when you stop the video. So can you all, I hope you can all see me, can't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So if I stop my video, you'll see that it comes up with that picture. Can you see that?
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Right. So that, and then when I go back and start it again, you'll see me again. So that's what happens. So it's quite handy to know how to stop the video. Like Patricia said, you don't normally do that when you're actually the trainer, the facilitator, but as a participant, yeah, you can stop it or whatever. So that's the stopping video. You'll get a personal meeting ID, which is something that you can use for everyone. You can give to people to use. Email addresses. Now, just coming down, you'll see that you have a capacity of up to 100 with the paid program. You can go for more than that, pay extra. In a 10-week program, I doubt that we would have 100. It would be very, very difficult to work with 100 people. On a webinar, that's a different process, but in a 10-week program, or yeah, you would have 100. But the other part is you can set up the time zone. So you'll notice that my time zone is set to be in Australian time. So whatever time zone you're in, you can actually set that up. And what that does is that once you've got it set up initially, when you do things like the meeting invitations and all of that, it will take the information from your particular time zone and place that in. And you'll see this working in a few minutes when we talk about it a bit more. But so setting up your own time zone is important. And you can also then set up your language. So you'll see that the language here is English, but you can have it set up so that it is in English, Chinese, Japanese, French, Spanish, German, or Portuguese. So if you're in one of those countries, and you can have all of the wording on the screens and the taskbars and everything being in that particular language. So that's pretty cool, isn't it? If you're working in a different country. Yeah. Okay, so that's really the personal profile. The next part then is you need to set, so you set that up. The next part is you need to set up the settings that you need. Right? So to set up your settings, you would then choose My Meeting Settings. And you'll see within My Meeting Settings that you have 5 options going down in the center of the screen, and under them then there's 3 tabs across the top. Now, there's a lot of settings in here that are defaulted, and I am seriously not going to go through every single setting because I know that by then you'd all be asleep, all right? And we don't want that, right? So we're just going to focus on the ones that you need, and they're the ones that will be in the handout, basically. All right, so what we need to do is, now you can actually click on each of these settings themselves to go to that area, or you can just scroll and they just are in one big long list. Right. But basically the couple that you have, when you first go on, you'll see it has the host video and the participants video. They're turned off. So can you see that they're grey? That means it's turned off, right? And what these are saying is that they're going to start the meeting. Do you want them to start the meeting with the video on or the video off? All right. Now, personally, I like it with the video on. I want people to come in with their video. So I would change those, right, so that they're on. Right. So that's really the only one part there. The next bit is the audio type, and it's important that you have it set to telephone and computer because people can come in on their telephones as well. So you want them to be able to talk on the computer or on telephone. Right. All right. Next screen. So this is just coming down, is join before host. Now you'll see I have it turned off, which is why when we came on, I opened up the meeting and then I had people come in. You may prefer to have it so that people can join the meeting before you. That's up to you. All right. But personally, that's how I have it. I have it so that when I come on maybe about 5 minutes or so before the session starts, and then anybody who is ready to go just automatically come in. And you would have seen that happen today. For some of you, that was sort of there. As soon as I came on, we came on straight away.
Yep.
But yeah, so that's that one. The rest of these we're not going to worry about. Then we're going on to the next level down, which is the in-meeting basic. All right. And you'll see there's a couple here that you need to turn on. So chats, do you want to have a chat? Now a chat means that you can, and you would have noticed at the bottom of your taskbar that there is an option that says chat, and you can chat with other people in the group, or you can chat to the presenter, to everybody. All right. So the top option here, chat, means that whatever you type in would go to everybody in the group. The next one down, the private chat, means that you could chat privately to people. Now, depending on what you're doing, you may or may not want that to be on. Right? It just depends, obviously, on what you're doing. I have them set on. I find that people don't really use it. When I'm running the 10-week program, people don't sit there chatting to each other using the chat box. It's irrelevant. But when I'm doing one-on-one coaching, I actually want people to chat. I use the chat box a lot for one-on-one coaching because I ask them questions, and depending on what I'm doing, if I'm doing a belief thing and I want them to do something intuitively, for example, then I want them to quickly type it down, and then I can take their answers and I can see patterns and things like that. So it just depends what you're doing, right, if you want to use the chat. The third option is actually turned off by default, and I've turned it on, but you can actually set it up so that if you are using chats, that it will automatically save it. Because it can be important if you're doing coaching work and people are typing things in, you might want to keep a record of what they type, so you can automatically save that chat, so you don't have to go in and copy and paste all the responses before you sort of exit out. All right, next one is the breakout rooms. Right, so you really need to make sure that they're turned on. Like I say, I'm not going to talk about any more than those. The next one down is screen sharing. So this is still part of the advanced. So you see, as you're scrolling through, you just be turning these on, making sure that your screen sharing's on. And the last one then are the email notifications. Now I just leave them, they're on, that's by default, they're on. It doesn't really matter. There are 2 different levels of recording. Can you see the first option there says when cloud recording is available? And it's turned on. So when you're doing recording, there are actually 2 levels, 2 ways you can record. You can record on the cloud, and you can record on your computer. So if you choose to record on the cloud, this option will actually then give you a notification when it's actually completed, because once you've done the recording, it needs to sort of convert it into the file. So it actually converts it into an MP4 file in both situations. So one, it will store it on the cloud, the other, it will store it on the computer. All right. Now, just going to the next screen. The next screen then is actually talking about recording, because we've gone through all of the meeting options. So just looking at recording, like I was saying, you can record on the computer, you can record on the cloud. If you choose to record on the cloud, you actually will have a gigabyte of storage. So as part of the paid program, you get a gigabyte that you can use. And if you prefer, you can pay extra and you can actually have more space. Right? So that's up to you. With the local recording, it actually records it in a default position, and I'll show you where that is shortly and how you can change that. But for me, it actually stores it under documents on the computer. So it goes into documents, like me personally, into documents, into a folder called Zoom. And then every time you run a session, it actually creates a folder with that particular session, and it puts the recordings in that folder. So then you can access it. So, and a lot of this information I'm going to have for you will be in the handout as well that I give you, so it will help you to find things later on. You can get the bit of paper. I know I'm a bit of a paper person, you know, I like to have that to work with. Yeah. So, okay, now when you're using cloud recordings, there are certain things that you can do. So you can, for example, record active speaker. So it's just a speaker that's recording. You can, you know, record audio files, and you get all of that anyway. So when you're doing, if you set it up so that it's saving the chat, if you set, you will get in the folder when you do the recording, you will get an audio only file. You will get a chat only file, a copy of the text, and you'll get the video, all right, which has video and audio, obviously, in it. You know, audio only is great. Like I actually use Zoom to record, say, meditations, and then I've got the audio of the meditation, which I can attach to something else. And so we can send out the audio to your your clients. You can send out a meditation that you've got, and you've got that audio version. So that's quite okay. So is everyone okay so far? Everyone's all good?
Yes, great.
Yeah. Perfect. So just keeping while we're staying with recording, this is how you can change the default location. So if you have a preference for it to be somewhere else, you would, on the taskbar at the bottom of your screen, you know how you can see there's a blue circle, which is the Zoom software? Have you got that? Like not on the screen in Zoom, like on the actual computer itself.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, so when you click on that, you'll see it comes up with this sort of a screen. So it's from with this, you would click on settings. Huh? And then to the recording option, and then you'll notice that it has the default location. So that's where you can just go in there and change that, obviously, to whatever you want. Yeah. Or you can leave where it is, and you can open it up. Yeah. And it's telling you that your cloud recording and how much space you've used. All right, so that's recording. This is just the setup part, really. So is everybody okay with the recording? Huh?
Yes.
Yeah. Good.
And the last bit then is just of those 3 tabs with telephones. And this is where you really want to have that the international numbers link is on the email invitation that you sent. So you would have received that because you're all here. You would have received that link on how to do that. And so it basically allows you then to go online and select the number that you need. If you're on a telephone, this is if you're on a phone, it allows you to go and select the phone number to call as a local phone number, because you don't want to be, you know, having someone call an overseas phone number if they're going to be on their phone. It's very expensive, especially on a mobile phone, for example. So, you know, so you can give them the number so they can call that local number. And the last option, the global dial-in countries, you'll see it says Australia for me because I've set that up to be Australia. So there is an edit. See, there's an edit button there, a little pen that allows you to edit it. So you can put your country there. So that way, if people are on the phone, in the email invitation, it will have the phone number to call for that country. You know? And because really, a lot of you, you know, your clients are probably going to be from your own country, majority. So that way it sets it up and it has that for you already. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so really they're the options. So see, there wasn't really a lot that you need to set up. There's only a few things, maybe a dozen, that you really need to have going. Right. So from here, once you've set up your options, you can then go down to look at your meetings. So when you click on your meetings, what you'll see is a list of all the meetings that you have created. Right. Now, you'll notice that I actually have them set to recurring because I actually don't want to have to keep creating the same thing over and over. So I use the same meeting codes all the time. So you'll notice at the bottom, if I'm doing coaching, that's the number that I would send people. You know, if I'm doing my Love Yourself, Heal Your Life 10-week program, you'll see that's the number that I use, for example. So I have all of these different ones and it's always the same. And it also makes it easy for me to remember what number I've given to people. Because that can be tricky too. If you start using different things and you're sort of like, oh my gosh, which one am I doing today? It's easy if you know you've got them sort of labeled so you know what you're doing. Right. And you'll see I've got in here, where is it? Oh, I didn't have it in here at the time when I did it, but I've actually got our program in here as well as a number, so I know exactly what we're going to be doing. So yeah, so basically we have that. We have the time, we have the name of it, and we have the meeting ID. Now to actually open something up, what you do is you actually would click on the title. All right. Now, before we do that, I'm just going to go back. You need to start. So this is my meetings. Now, when you first start, guess what? You're not going to have any meetings. So the first thing you need to do is that you need to create one. Right? You need to create whatever it is that you're going to be doing. You might create a couple. You might create a coaching one, and you might create a 10-week program one, and you might just create a personal one or whatever it is. And so the first thing you do is you would click on schedule a new meeting. Right? Now, this is where you would type in the topic. So the topic is really the title of that particular meeting that you're creating. Description, if you want, it's pretty, if the topic, if your meeting description is enough, you don't need another description for what it is. And then you can set up the time. So you could, if you're doing a one-off type meeting, you can set the date and time for that meeting. All right. And you'll notice that the time zone is in Australian time because that's what I've set it up. So a lot of this, it picks up the settings that we have done already and brings them into every meeting that you create. Right? So that it makes it very simple. Once you've got it set up, you don't have to keep changing things all the time. And so I typically tend not to do this, to have one-off meetings. Like I was saying, I tend to, you can see that, do recurring meetings all the time, because I just find it's easier. I don't have to worry about dates and if it runs over time or under time, and all that sort of thing. So by clicking on recurring meeting, it actually will then, so it started with the day that I put that screenshot on, which was the 9th of April, and you'll see that the recurrence was daily by default. So what I've actually done, if you have a look at the bottom part, you'll see that you can have weekly, you can have monthly, and I actually basically choose no fixed time. So that way it doesn't matter when I run it, it'll work. It doesn't matter. So it's, yeah. Because if if you've got coaching, for example, you could run it any time, couldn't you? So it doesn't matter. So once you've got the recurring meeting, the time set up, the next part then in the same screens is whether you want registration. You can set it up so that you can people can register through Zoom. I tend not to do that. I tend to do it through my own methods, like through emails and things like that, but you could have it so people register that way. you'll notice that the video is on for the host and for the participant. So they're the settings that, remember we set them up in the initial settings, so it's automatically followed through. Yeah. The audio is set to both, and that's because we said we wanted computer and telephone, so that's pulled across. And the dial-in is from Australia, and that's because I said that was my time zone. All right. So can you see all that? So it sets that up every time you do it. It'll have the same things automatically set up for you. The meeting. Sorry, you can actually set passwords. I wouldn't worry about that. And then the enable join before host. That depends if you want that on. It would have a tick in it. If you allow people to come on before you, and if you don't, then obviously it's turned off. Now, at the bottom of that, you would click on save, and then it will save that particular meeting. And now, it then will open it up. So then you will see what you see for your meeting. Notice that you have the URL. So it will show you the URL that you'll be using for that meeting. And you can also copy the invitation, which we'll do shortly. But you can create an invitation, and it gets all of the information with the phone numbers, all of the things that you would have seen that Patricia would have sent you, which would have all of those things. It's come from this meeting invitation already. Okay, so from here, we're all done. We would have closed out of that. We've got our meeting set up, and now it's another day, and we want to find our meeting. So is everyone's okay now? We're all set up as far as Zoom's concerned. We've set everything up to do with our meeting, and now we're ready to go back into it and to maybe get the invitation so that we can get ready to send, say. Right? So to locate your meeting, you would go back into Zoom and you would click on My Meetings. So you would have gone My Account, right? My Meetings. You'll notice now we have a meeting called the Zoom training. And to open it up, remember, because I could start it from here if I wanted to, and that's what I do when I'm actually running this. I actually did exactly that. I went into this and I clicked on start from that spot, and it opened up. And then you all came onto it. So from here, I would click on the title to open it up, and you'll see you've got the same screen that you saw before. And this time, when we copy the invitation, you'll see that the invitation comes up. So you've probably all seen something similar to that. You could just use that. A lot of people send that out without doing a lot of changing. I tend to change it. I have a meeting invitation that I send out. I've included that invitation in the handout that you'll get, because basically I've added some extra bits and pieces into that. You know, I want to make it so that it works for the HYL program. So, and I'll talk about what I've added when we talk about how we actually get ready for the meeting, when we're getting ready to do the HYL program. All right. I'll talk to you about how you can, what's in it, what I add in, why I added in, what I found, what tips I learned over the years with the invitation. All right. So notice that with the invitation itself, though, there's probably 3 pieces of information that are important. You've got the actual link itself, right? Notice that it's coming from Australia. There's the phone number that somebody would call if it was a telephone, right? And lastly, you've got the international number that somebody else, if they want to use a telephone, would call. They would access that website there, find out their phone number. Okay, so from here, we're going to stop the sharing and we're going to come back into Zoom. So is everybody okay there? I know that was a bit like, oh my gosh, but they're things that you need to do to set up, right? And now the fun's going to start, all right? So really, once that's done once, you don't really need to even worry about it again. You just need to do it in the beginning, and then every time it's just a case of creating maybe another meeting, and then you're done. All right, so let's now talk about Zoom. Start looking at some of the features, and so you guys can actually have a play as well. Like we're going to all, like do bits and pieces now. I'm going to have you doing things. And so first of all, first part, now, okay, everyone's into Zoom. Notice at the top right-hand side of your screen, it should say something like speaker view or gallery view.
Yep.
Can you all see that? Yeah. So gallery view is when you've got the word speaker view showing, that means that you're actually in gallery view, right? So when speaker view is showing, that means the word speaker view. If you click on it, it will become speaker view. Now, and if you're in speaker view now, then you would see the words gallery view. Now, the difference is that when you're in gallery view, you see everybody. Like you see lots and lots of people on the screen. If you choose the other one, so if you click into speaker view, then you'll notice that one person will be large, right? And everybody else will be across the top, and there'll be a little arrow where you can sort of scroll through the people that are there. And then you can go back. So can you see that? So, yeah.
Yep.
So I prefer, like I was saying, I prefer the gallery view, and especially when you're running the 10-week, you want to see all the people. You need to see everyone's faces. You know, you need to be able to, because, you know, we are all intuitive beings, and we need to see body language, and we need to see everyone's okay. We need to see facial expressions. You need to, you know, all of that because we need to pick up, don't we? Like when we're doing this work, we need to know how people are going. And so it's really important. So yeah, gallery view. You can have, just going to the right of that, you've got different screen sizes, so you can have full screen or not. When I'm running the programs, I tend to actually resize it myself because you probably see me looking down because I have my notes below it. So I have my screen sort of split in half, and I have the notes below and Zoom at the top. Right. I have two screens, two monitors. So I actually have PowerPoint running on one monitor, and I'll show you how you can set all this up after. And then below that, the meeting notes, and I have them in writing, and then Zoom. If you've got one monitor, you possibly want to have the PowerPoint running below Zoom, and you might need to have a physical copy of notes because it's tricky to have three things, because when you run the program, you need your notes to go through as you're running it. Yeah. So
I would agree with that because I had to do that. I only have one screen. Rick has two. And so I had my files open, you know, underneath, but I did have to have my notes. So absolutely right. Yeah. But it worked fine. It worked.
Yeah. It does. And the thing is, you know what this is all about? Practice. You know, before you run a program, you want to practice. You want to resize it. You want to have your PowerPoint or whatever you're going to be using to share. You want to have your notes. I would recommend that you actually record it. You actually press the record button and you do it, and you pretend you have a class and you do it, and you go to that slide, and then you do that, and you say what you're going to say, and you make sure that the music's working, and we'll talk all about that. But yeah, training is about practicing. That's what it's about. It's about just doing it and doing it and doing it, you know. And if you don't feel comfortable as a trainer, like I would recommend you do something 3 times. Practice it. You have to practice it fully 3 times so that you feel comfortable when you're delivering it. You know what your timing is. You know, because it's very easy, or it can be easy when people are talking. You need to know that if you're saying an hour and a half, you need to be an hour and a half. If you say 2 hours, you need to be 2 hours. So it's about knowing how long it's going to take you to do what you need to do. All right. So we'll talk about that a little bit more when we're actually getting ready for it. But does that make sense to everyone? Like we have to be pretty much on time. Yeah. So practice. That's the most important thing. And Patricia was talking about that before, you know, you've got to practice. So yeah. Okay. So we've got our gallery view. We've looked at the size of our screens. Now down the bottom of your screen, you'll see that we have the taskbar. So as you place your mouse down the bottom, a few of you'll see that bar coming across. Yeah. Okay,
yes.
Yes. So we're going to actually now look at these different features, and we'll work our way along, and then we'll actually do things. So mute. So some of you are already muted. So does everyone want to just click it? Like, I don't want to mute me because you can't hear me. But see how that works? So it stops that. So as Patricia was saying earlier, so if, I always tell when I'm doing the live programs, I run the people through this. Right, that's one of the first things I do on the first day would be to show them the features of Zoom, because just like you, a lot of people, it would be their first time that they've actually used Zoom. So I would actually say to them, that's the mute button, and if you've got children or someone's coming in to talk to them or whatever, because that often happens, they mute themselves. All right, and now mute. Sometimes some people choose to have everybody muted, but because the work that we do, it's very interactive. We're asking our participants questions all the time, and you can all unmute yourselves, by the way, if you want to. So yeah, it's we are, aren't we? We're asking questions. We want to talk to people. We want to communicate. We want to build that relationship. So we don't really want our people to be muted. We want them to be interactive. Now the next one along is the video. So you can stop the video. So that's me stopped. So just everyone click it so you can see. Now, if you haven't got an image, what you'll see is it comes up with your name.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see that? So, yeah. So you would put a picture there in the profile.
Okay.
Rather than just having your name.
Now, I have a question. This is Deb.
Yeah.
I clicked on something to mute myself or make myself go away, or so I'm not in the gallery, but I am here. So I don't know how to get back.
Yeah, I can see you. I can see you.
you too.
You're there now.
We can see you.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I can't see myself. I don't know. Okay, that's fine. I don't need to see
Yeah, we
myself.
can see you there. Yeah, there is an option where you can hide yourself.
Yeah, I think I hit it, but I don't know how to do it.
But it seems like it hides you from yourself, not from anyone else.
That's all it did. Yeah. Okay. I'm glad I'm not, picking my nose or something. I didn't know you could see me.
Yeah.
Okay. Well.
The next one along is the invite. So you can all click on this as well. Everyone can click it. And so because basically the way it works is somebody else could invite somebody else to a meeting. Obviously, you wouldn't want that, not in running our programs. But it could be just if it was a personal type thing. You might, somebody else, one of your participants or somebody else in the session might do the invite. I use this all the time. I have to say that when I'm running the 10-week program, especially in the beginning, people often won't remember the code. They can't find it. So I would have sent it by email. I would have sent it by other means as well, but sometimes people just can't find the URL and they don't know. So I would use this. I often have, and I'll talk about how I work this later, but I would have, you can copy the URL. That actually just copies that number, the HTTPS link that you clicked on to get here. It copies that, and then you can paste it into something. So I usually have Facebook open, and most of the people that come are on Facebook, and I would paste that into, say, a messenger link in Facebook, so they all have to do is click on it. Otherwise, I've often typed it into my phone, so I always have my phone handy. I have it, at that point in time before I'm starting, it's not on silent, so because I'm waiting to see, because people might be going, I can't get the link, I don't know where I am, so I would put the link in the phone and then go on to silent, so after that. But yeah, so that's what you can use. That link there is really handy, that invite. Yeah. All right. Next one along is screen sharing. And you notice that I've been doing that. I've been sharing the screen. The one thing about screen sharing, and I'm actually going to share it again. Is that you can share. Oops. Someone's sharing. Michelle's sharing. Yay! Now, that's good. Okay. That's great.
So how do I unshare?
So you would have a bar across the top of the screen. There'll be a bar.
Okay.
And it says on there, just below it, it's got stop share.
Oh, okay.
Can you see it?
Yeah. Okay.
Perfect. So you can see that you can share. I'm going to come back to sharing. Before I do, I just want to do the manage participants screen. So we'll just go there first. And then we've got, I love that, Michelle. Where's Michelle? There she is. I loved your heart. That's beautiful. That was just so cool. So when in the initial settings, you'll see it was set up to say that anybody can share. So you may want to say, I don't want that. And I've never actually really, when I'm doing the 10-week program, honestly, people don't share their screens. It's not that sort of an activity that people need to. So it's up to you how you have it set up. So that was awesome. So thank you for doing that.
That would be nice if you did like a vision board, you know, where everyone, because that was a whiteboard. I like the way it gave you a choice from what was on your computer. It just shows you each little thing you can share, and then a whiteboard too. So anyway,
Yes.
that was good.
Yeah. Oh, it's great. I'll talk about sharing. Let's just, actually we'll go there. I'll go there now. Okay. I'll go back to sharing so that we can see what you were talking about. So notice when you're sharing the screen, when you share the screen and you click on that share screen button, it actually comes up and shows you all of the windows and everything you have open at the current time, right? And you have two options. You can either, that's what Michelle did, the whiteboard, right? But you can either choose a desktop or you can choose an application. So I've got something like Zoom, say, or sorry, my PowerPoint, right? So you can choose what you have open. If you're running one monitor, you're better off to choose an application. So you would just have PowerPoint. Right? If you're using two monitors, then it's quite easy to use a desktop version because it allows you to then flick between different things. Also, you can set up the sound. So you can actually click on share computer sound so that if you're running something on the computer like a YouTube video or something like that, the sound will actually go through. So they won't be picking up the sound through your microphone. They'll pick up the sound through their computer. It'll actually go straight through. So, yeah. So that's the toolbar we were talking about. So when you actually are sharing, you'll see that it comes up with the toolbar and you can manage that as you're going. So all of the features that you see pretty much on the bottom of the screen, you have open to you. One of the things that's interesting is to do with the chat box. So there is a chat box and we'll actually practice playing that within a minute or two. But if you're sharing the screen and somebody does a chat, then what happens is that you don't really see it. You haven't got a clue what the information is that they're saying. The only way you know that there is a chat there is because under the more option, you'll see that it goes orange and it has a number 1, which means that there's one chat there. So when you are screen sharing, you sort of need to keep an eye out on that if somebody is doing a chat so that you can pick up the information. Probably more so in, like webinars and things like that you're doing, that you're going to have that, rather than when you're doing the Heal Your Life program. People don't typically tend to do that. They tend to just to talk. Yeah. Okay, so just going back, I'm going to stop the is everyone okay there with screen sharing? Yeah, I'll stop the screen again. Now, just looking at the managing participants. Now, you'll notice that my name here says Zoom administration. Right, now if you all click on manage participants, right, what I can see is a list then of everybody that's on this session, and you can see yourself. You should all be able to see yourself as well. And when you're on yourself, can you see when you put your mouse over yourself that it's got two options? It has mute and rename. Can you see rename? Yeah, so Erica, you can now click on rename and type in your name, the new name and then say OK, and you'll see now I've gone to Angie. So if you don't want to have your full name, for example, you could change it and just have your Christian name. So when I'm doing my trainings, I sort of come in, one of the first things I do before the students get there is quickly change the name. Because mainly because I have a shared account. My husband uses the same account as what I do. So, look, there's Erica. Woohoo, welcome.
She did it.
Yay. Yeah. One of the things you can do if you have a shared account, so what can happen is if more than one person's using that same one, if somebody else if the other person logs into it, so maybe you've got a joint business or you're running things together or whatever, if someone else logs in to Zoom while you've logged in, you know what happens? You log out. It locks you out. And you don't want that. You don't want to be in the middle of a 10-week program and all of a sudden somebody, your partner, for example, decides that they want to call somebody on Zoom and they're downstairs and they're doing that and all of a sudden, boof, the program's gone, right? Because it logs you out, right? So what you can see, and I'm going to share the screen again now.
I'm laughing at Rick doing that to Patricia.
Yeah, what you'll see, can you see my screen again? I have an option that says more on my screen. So the bottom, you've got mutes and those sort of things, but under more, you'll see that there's an option there, the third one down in that little box that says lock meeting. So if you lock the meeting, once everyone's on, you can lock it and then nobody else can actually come in.
Mm-hmm.
And also if you've got students who want to test, like depending on what you're doing, they might want to test it beforehand to make sure it's all working. You don't want other people popping in and out either. So, yeah, so it's a good idea just to lock. Yeah. Okay. Now, chats. The chat box. Is everyone okay so far? All good?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Chat boxes. Right, now, so it's pretty easy. If you click on chat, and you'll notice that it opens up the screen on the right-hand side of your screen. Can you see that? You've got people and you've got the chat open up on the side. And, yeah, and you can type in. So Michelle just said hello, welcome, yay, hi. So when you're working, if you're, depending on what you're doing, yay. Oh, Karen can't see herself. And no, when you do because there's a few of us on, if you place your mouse over on near the people on the edge of where that chat box is, there's an arrow that says 1/2. Can you see that? And from there you can move and see the second page of people, where you can go back to the first page. Yeah. So that way you get to see everyone.
Where is
You all
that?
see that?
Where is it?
So where the chat box is, so have you got like the gallery view and you can see all the people?
Right.
Right? And then over on the right-hand side, you have a box going down the whole length of it, which has got the chat.
Mm-hmm.
You see that? And then if you take your mouse and place it in the chat box and then just slowly take it over towards the people.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see it say 1/2 when you go onto the people?
No.
No.
Okay, that's interesting. I wonder why. I have to look at that. Not that it matters that much. I mean, I can see it as like me doing it. When I've been in classes where there's been a lot of people, I have seen that happen as well. Like, so I'm not sure why you're not. So there could be a setting or something that I've got set for this. So I have to have a look at that. This means that the participants can't see the other participants at this point. Yeah. Oops. Oh, good. So isn't this great? So this is the chat. Now you might like it there, or you might actually say, I actually don't want it there. So you can do what they call popping out. So you can place it in a different part of your screen. So up at the top, you see where it says Zoom chat group? Zoom group chat. We'll start again. Yeah, and there's a little down arrow to the left.
Right.
If you click on the little down arrow to the left, you'll see that you can either close that or you can do the pop out. So click on pop out and it will place it in a little box. And then you can place that anywhere on the screen, you know, around that you want. So you've always got access. And then you can basically resize your screen so that you can see more people.
So how do I get it to move? How do I place it?
Okay. So you've got the little box. Have you got a box that says
Yes, it's right in
and
the
it's right in the middle on top of the people? Yeah? Okay. So take your mouse and place it on top of the words that say Zoom group chat. Right, now hold down the left mouse button. And then as you do, just move.
Got it.
Yeah?
Okay.
Yeah, and then you can place it wherever you let go. That's where it's going to be.
Okay.
So that's quite handy. And everyone should see the word more in the bottom. And this is how you can actually then put the chat back if you want it to go back into being on the side pane. Can you notice it says merge to meeting window? So if you click on that, that will then place it back into that spot there. Or you could have closed it from there anyway, but yeah.
So I was in full screen, and when I was in full screen, the chat automatically did a pop-out window. But when I'm not in full screen, it puts the chat on the right.
Yeah. And then did you click on the down arrow next to the word Zoom group chat?
When you're in full screen, that arrow doesn't show up.
Interesting. Hang on. Everyone try it. If you're on. Interesting. That's good. Thank you for that.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah.
And you just get the little box.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's interesting. If you're, so that's great. Well, there you go. And then we can just close it. All right, I'm back to the resizing. But you probably find when you're working with your students, you'll be on the, resize screen. It won't be the full screen so that you can have your notes below, or PowerPoint below or something. So, yeah, that's great. All right, now the next part, so we've done the chatting, is the recording. So if you place your mouse on the recording, can you see how it actually then allows you to, it says, you will see that, record on computer or record on cloud. So you would obviously click on either of those when you're running your session. Now, it really depends on, I'm just going to bring this recording up. It really obviously depends on what you're doing. If you record, I tend to record if I know that I have participants who aren't going to be there. Like if participants don't turn up, because something's happened, they're not well or whatever, I will record it and send it to them later. If everybody's there, I don't necessarily record it. Right? It just depends if you want to, for yourself. I don't send out recordings after a session. If they're there, they're there. That's it, really. And we'll talk about recordings in a minute, what you do and how you can convert it and send it. We'll do that shortly. But after you've done it, if you choose that you want to place it in the cloud, you'll notice that when you go into my account, you can actually just go to my recordings and then you'll be able to pick it up from there. You'll get notified. Remember how it said you'd get notified and then you'd be able to pick it up? If you decide to do it on your local computer, oops, I don't know what's going on here. If you go on your local computer, and you'll see this happening at the end when we're doing it, when I'm actually showing you how you would do it when you leave the meeting, it actually then converts it all right, it converts it into the score that you need to be able to send. All right. Okay, so let's now, I'm going to stop again. So is everyone okay with the recording? So really, it's quite easy. You'll see in a few minutes, you'll see how that happens when we actually end the session. But before then, breakout rooms. Now, this is really important. Breakout rooms are really important because this is when we put people into groups. So when we're running the 10-week and we're doing exercises like the shoulds and coulds, we're doing other bits and pieces, we need to have people together so they can talk, right? A breakout room means that people can't hear anybody else. You only can communicate with the people in that breakout room, right? And it's all private, so you can do whatever work it is that you need to do. Just for your information, you can actually have up to 50 breakout rooms, and you can have 200 people in each one. My mind boggles, but can you imagine, like, we're not going to be anywhere near that. Like, we're just going to be doing small numbers, often, 2 people at a time into a breakout room. Right. So basically, you can set it up. You can either set it up automatically, you can set it up manually. So if you set it up automatically, the computer decides who they're putting into which breakout room. I'll be doing it with you guys in a moment, by the way. We're actually going to put you in breakout rooms, but it decides, or alternatively, you can manually choose who's going to be in groups. So when you're doing like the HYL Your Life, the 10-week program, you don't want the same people necessarily to be working with the same people every time. So you want to be able to manually, pop people into the groups, into the breakout rooms. Yeah. You can, so basically, while you're in the group, in the breakout room, you can request help. So a participant can say, hey, I'm not sure about this or whatever, and they can ask for help. So as the facilitator, you would get a message saying, breakout room 1 has requested help. And then you, as a facilitator, you can pop in and out of every breakout room. You can send a message to everybody. So you can say, okay, this exercise is finishing in 10 minutes or 5 minutes or, 1 minute or whatever. So you can broadcast a message. And then you actually can stop the breakout rooms and get everyone to come back. All right, so I'm going to do it now. We have 16 people online. So I'm going to create 3 breakout rooms with 5 people in each. I'll do it as an automatic thing. And then once you're in that breakout room, right, can somebody request for help? And then I'm going to pop so that you can see the button and see what it is. I will then pop into each room just and say, hi, how you doing? Right, I'll pop in and out. And then when I popped in and out of the 3 rooms, I'll broadcast a message saying it's time to come back now. And then we'll all come back, all right? When you get put into the breakout room, you'll get an option to join. So you have to actually click a button that says join breakout room. Okay, is everyone okay with all that? Ready to give it a go?
Sure.
Okay, let's do it. So I'm going to go to breakout rooms, and I'm now going to click on automatically, and I get a choice to say how many rooms I want. So I'm going to choose 3 rooms, and it's telling me that it's putting 5 people in, so it's doing the maths for us. So that's good. We don't have to worry about that. Then I just click on create rooms. It now shows me a list of all of you and who's going to be in which rooms. All right. And then I'm going to click on open rooms. And
That's
hey.
cool. Well, now I can see myself. I couldn't see myself.
Oh,
I wonder
I couldn't.
why.
I was like, where am I? I don't know why. Maybe when I go back now, I will be on.
I can see you though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good.
So this is really cool. So now we can talk, but nobody else has got any idea what's going on.
Okay, so you popped in now.
I popped in, and I'm like, yeah, here I am, because the Pokemon Queen, yay!
So what did where was it on your screen, and what did it say to do a breakout?
What did it just then, so that I knew that you wanted me?
No, when you wanted a breakout, because I didn't see that option. Do only the host get that option?
On the bottom of the screen, it has an option that says breakout rooms.
Just for the administrator.
Yeah, so you see that, yeah, and then you can manage the rooms.
Okay.
So it's quite, yeah. And like it showed me who was in which room. And then and that you hadn't joined, and then as people start joining, they disappear from my screen. So in the end, there's just me sitting here all by myself.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then I need to pop in.
You're sitting with a blank screen until people ask for help.
Yes. And so now breakout room 1's just asked for help. So I might leave you.
Bye.
And,
can you pop into a group without them asking for help?
No. You asked for help. Pokemon Queen asked for me to pop in here. Oh, sorry. Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. I'm sorry. I missed your question. Yeah. It shows me then a list. The screen I see is who's in which one. And then over on the right, it just says the word join. So you can actually just join into any one. So they don't have to ask for help. You can manually just go into any of the rooms.
Okay.
Yeah. And now I've got an option that says leave breakout room. So I'm going to leave the breakout room now. And you guys can stay chatting for a second till I go to the other rooms. And then I'll broadcast a message, and then I'll bring you all back.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Gamma, what are you talking about? What you guys talking about?
Oh, that's cute.
Back and listen to what you've been telling them.
Hello.
Oh, their help has arrived.
Oh, she's come.
Oh, I'm here now. Yay.
We were getting a busy signal.
So yeah.
No, they're all agreeing with how cool this is.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Good. So yeah. And you don't have to be asked for help to pop into the screen.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So when I put you into the rooms, so I saw like breakout room 1, 5 names, breakout room 2, 5 names, 3, and over on the right it just says the word join. So you can pop in and out, as people are doing things, just to check they're okay, which is what you would be doing. Like when you've got them working 2 by 2, doing their thing, they're not going to be asking for help necessarily. So you can just pop in. Yeah, which is quite handy. Yeah.
It almost seems to me that you kind of think as though you're on land.
Yeah.
That you're actually in a physical space, and that if you've got people in different areas that you might hop around, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's just the same. It's just, isn't it amazing what a great tool this is? I just love it. So yeah. All right, well, I'm going to go because I'm going to go to breakout room 3 now. So I'll send you a message soonish, which will say, that we're coming back, and then I'll bring you all back. So, all right, so I'll see you all again very soon.
All right, thanks.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hello.
Hey.
Oh, there you are.
I popped in to say hello. Isn't this cool?
That's very cool.
Yeah, it is.
So you don't have to ask for help to have people pop in. Like you can just, as your facilitator, like I see a list of 5 names, breakout room 1, 2, and 3, and on the right it says the word join. So if you were doing this live, you would have people in their rooms and you would be just popping in, like you just pop in and say, you guys okay? How's it doing? And how are you doing? The next one, whatever. So you can, you don't have to wait for them to say help before you pop in. So, yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. So it's a good feature.
Do you always choose who's in the breakout rooms?
Sorry?
Do you always choose who's in the breakout rooms?
Most of the time.
Okay.
It really just depends. Because you're having two people work together, you know, depend on what it is. But most of the time, you know, we use two people, don't we? We do the shoulds and coulds, or we're doing forgiveness, or whatever we're doing. You know, negative messages, you want people to talk. So, yeah, I don't want the same people. I don't necessarily want the same people to be chosen by the computer every time.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. Do you know, you let them select who they want to work with, or you just pick? Okay.
Yeah, they can't. So you would have a list of names, and you would literally be saying, okay, this one and this one are in breakout 1, and this one are in 2, and this one, you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you would be choosing by their name. Yeah. Yeah.
So this actually opens up so many doors, having breakout rooms. It's just fabulous.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because people can work privately or doing things, and, you know. Yeah.
Amazing.
It's a great tool. All right, well, I'm going to go, and then I'm going to broadcast a message. So I'll see you all again on the other side really soon.
Awesome. Thanks, Angie.
Okay.
Thank you.
See ya.
You made it.
Yay!
Found our way back.
Yeah, that was so easy.
Yep.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
That's
Yep.
a nice feed.
Okay, cool. And
Deb, can you
I'm
see
here.
yourself now?
Yay!
I can see myself. Yeah.
Oh, yay.
Oh, that's great.
Did we lose anyone?
No, Patricia.
Oh.
Well, that's not good.
Breakout room 1 hasn't come back.
Oh,
They're still in a breakout.
maybe maybe they're doing it automatically.
Yeah, it's
maybe
going to
they're waiting
close in
for
7 seconds. So now I have to admit, I'm recording this so we can, you can get the recording. I have no idea what you're going to see in the recording, because it could be just me sitting here. Well, you know, and when I've gone off into the breakout room, I actually don't know what the recording's going to show. So I'm going to have to check that out. Let me know, because, yeah. Because they won't see, no one will see who's in those particular rooms. So it could just be a blank screen that people are going to get. All right, so we're all back. Yay!
Yeah, that was great.
So, yeah, it's good, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I was just saying, Patricia, that we're recording this. I'm not actually sure what we're going to see on the recording when we're in the breakout rooms, because
it might be you popping in and out.
Yeah, it could be. And me going, okay, I've got to do this now. So it could be, yeah. And I imagine that's what it will be, to be honest. I imagine that it will be just, me, because you will be off. You'll be gone into the breakout room. So, yeah.
And have elevator music going.
And see, I can still see a screen now with each of the rooms there with you in them. So, for example, I could click another button that says open all rooms, and you'd all automatically go back into that same room again.
Oh, okay.
So it's just, so it's quite useful. Or you can recreate.
Angie, if you were going to put us into rooms again, could you, at the controls, reshuffle us?
Yes, you can. Yeah. I can automatically do it again, so it would automatically reshuffle. Do you want me to do that?
Sure.
I'm happy to do it if you like.
Maybe just like a quick one.
Yeah, okay. I will just put you in, and you can say hi, and then I won't pop in, and then I'll pull you back out. Is that okay? All right, so the screen I've got just says automatically or manually assign. I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, can you see the screen?
Yes.
So basically, that's what it will say, that it will automatically assign the people into the room, and I'm just going to click on create breakout rooms. All right, so that's what I'll do right now, is I'm going to click on create breakout rooms. Have you got the message?
No.
No.
Don't you love it? Everybody's just waiting with bated breath
I know,
for it to happen.
Okay.
I'm hearing birds. I like the birds. Maybe they're from Australia because they're in the morning.
Okay, here we go. Ready?
Yeah. Okay. So join.
Oh, okay. Breakout room.
Great. Okay.
Yeah. They put us in the same group. Angie.
So it's automatically done that. That's interesting.
That is in the same group.
I was in a different group.
Yeah, I was in a different group.
Oh, okay. I was in the same group.
Because it was just automatically
We
did
had
it.
3 the same, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Did anybody switch?
I think
I was in the same room.
you're in the same? You had the same 5?
Yes. Same room.
Yeah.
I was in the same room.
No, I didn't see you in my room.
You had different people?
Yeah,
Same. 3 of the same 5.
3 of the same, yeah.
Yeah. And I suppose that's just the random that the system does. It just manually, so that's why, yeah. When you're doing it yourself, you just be putting you manually put them in. You just click on add a room and you select the people and put them in and so on. Yeah. Okay, so that's pretty much Zoom, to be honest. That's like how Zoom works. See how it's not that hard, is it? Like there's not that much to it. You just got to practice it. Call somebody up that's on Zoom and just, you need to have somebody else with you to do the breakout rooms. You can't do it when you're on your own. So, it really seriously doesn't work. If you've got a laptop and you've got 2 devices, you can dial in on your own from your phone, say, because you can put Zoom on your mobile phone, so you can dial that number and just ring into the session, so you can see how that works, and then you've got 2 people, and you can do it from something else, and then you can practice things, because you need to have, you can't, a lot of those things you can't practice when you're by yourself. So, yeah.
Do you find that most participants like to do their video?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When you're doing the 10-week program, they want to be interacting. It's like you're in a live class. They all want to be doing that. I do as we do with any of the work, obviously at the beginning you're asking for confidentiality and all of that. It's just like you were in a live situation. You're going through all of the same things. People, are aware of that. I have to, personally for me, I find it off-putting when someone comes in on a phone. I find it because I think I said before, I like to read faces, and I can't see a face. I don't know how they're going, because you know how you can tell? You can see someone's face. You know if they're doing okay, or you can see if they're starting to get a bit confused, or they're, whatever. You can see that. Yeah, whereas on a phone you can't. And the other thing with phones as well is that there's a time delay. So when you say something, so if I ask a question, because I like to be fairly interactive when I'm working, so you ask them a question, and then you have to wait before they answer because it takes a while for them to get the question and then to respond.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
so just to be aware of that it does take that time. Yeah. Yeah. To actually for them to respond. Because in the beginning I'm like, come on then, you know, hurry up, answer me. Like, what's going on? You know, and then it's like, it's the delay. That's what it is. So you have to just be aware of that. So yeah. Okay, so that was Zoom. Now, what we're going to talk about now is what do you do to get ready for the 10-week program? All right. So there's really about 6 steps. I can share the screen. I've got the steps written down for you. All right. So you've been to the training. We've all been to the training, and Patricia gave you the manual. Like you got or whoever you went to, you got your manual, you know, with the 10-week program in it. Mm-hmm. And you've received it as a hard copy. And I think Patricia's going to send a soft copy. Is that right?
Yeah, I'll send a digital copy to the people that are on the program. And the reason that we mainly give the paper ones is, which I told Angie before, is we had somebody try to sell the materials on eBay. And I know it's hard to believe. It's hard to believe. And then we had one other challenge with someone from another country, actually, that wanted to host the entire 10-week study group online.
Ooh.
And so fortunately we found out about it beforehand. So, we said, no, that doesn't work. That doesn't work. So we're just careful about it. But with this group, I'm just going to send it out and, know that you're just using it appropriately. Okay. So It makes it easier because you can put your notes in and things like that.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll find that really, really good. So I ended up, because I didn't have the digital copy in those days, like I got so much of the hard copy, so I actually retyped it, which was also not a bad thing because, do you know why? Because it puts it into your head. As you're typing it, you're learning what the content is and stuff like that. So it's not a bad tool to learn what's happening as you're typing it, because you're actually going through every single line, every word that you need to say.
Bless your heart. Bless your heart.
It's a good thing. So, and like I say, I have run the program like so many times. So the first step that you would need to do, because you've just come, you've got it, you've not done it before, you've got the paper copy and the soft copy, and you're about to do it. The first thing you'll need to do is that you're going to have to review it. Right? So, I mean, I love the 10-week program. Like I was saying, I've done it so many times, and I run it as per the outline. I haven't, like, every week is exactly what the week is. I haven't changed it. I have added extra material into it. Sometimes Patricia has choices, so it might be a meditation, and it will say it'll say, now choose, you could do that, or you could do this, or you could do that. So you'll need to choose which one of those you're going to do and then pop that in, into your program, so that you have week 1 and it has everything, every step you're going to be doing with the meditation in it, whatever it is. I've added some extra exercises into the program. So, and I use the workbook. I don't know if you've got the workbook, the Heal Your Life workbook.
Yeah. Right.
It's a bit hard to see. I've got a bit of light here because I'm sharing the screen. Can you see it? If you haven't got it, the Love Yourself, Heal Your Life workbook, I would thoroughly recommend you got it. Would you agree, Patricia?
Well, it's actually one of the required books, so I'm sure everybody has it. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Right.
It does. It has great exercises.
Right.
And so I've added a number of these. I put in the appropriate part of the course, and I find that it's really great. What else? So that's probably the main bit, is just adding the exercises in. When I run them live, each session is about 2 hours. That's sort of what I work it as. When I do them online, I do it at about an hour and a half. Now that depends. I had run a lot of live sessions before I ran them online, so I knew what I was doing, and I've been, as in I know the content, I knew the flow. If you haven't done it before, maybe make it the first time, do it as 2 hours. You're offering it online because you need to give yourself time. And also though, if you practice it, you'll know your timings, but then you won't know how long it takes the participants. You need to know how long you're going to give them to answer the questions or to share and all of that. So you need to take all of that into account. So, yeah. So the first part, though, is so you need to review the content, pop your exercises in, know what meditations you're using. Sometimes I've added material like the CDs that we get with the wonderful songs that we have.
Right.
And most of those are in there, but sometimes I might add an extra song in that's come off the CD track that we've got. So I just work, There are some exercises that you can't do. For example, so you can't do the hugs one. Like you can't, we could stand and do virtual hugs, but you can't. You can't do that. So you have to be aware when you're running the online, is this really possible to do this? The other ones, the forgiveness, when we do them live, how you have two people and one's, dear, I forgive you, Fred, for blah, 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 blah. And the other person says, thank you, and I set you free. How we do that. That's a bit tricky to do really in the class. So what I actually get them to do is to write a letter, to do a letter. So I give them, say, 5 or 10 minutes. And you could do that in breakout rooms, but you'd need to have pretty loud music playing. So I prefer really just to get them to, I get them to write a letter, and they can write, give them, say, 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and they can write as many forgivenesses as they need, and just on a bit of paper, and then get them to burn it at the end. And also with the anger, it's the same thing. I get them to write it as a letter and get them to burn it.
And you can add the music in. There's a place to add music, or
not into the breakout rooms. So
no, in the regular, like everyone's in class, like right now. How would you add music?
How I would get the CD. Have I got it here? No. I just play the CD on my CD player.
Oh.
On the computer, and then I have
in the drawer.
Yeah, I just
that's right. Okay, that's where I would put mine. Okay.
Yeah, and it just pops up, and then I just know that the "I Love Yourself," the song they sing at the end. It's on. It's track number 5, so I move up to track number 5, and then and we play it. So at the end of every session I run, we play that song, and everybody stands up and everybody dances, and we all sing.
Great.
That's so cool.
And so there is a little bit of a delay. I can see people singing a bit different time to me, but that's all right. And we all dance, and I sort of get there and do this, I love myself and all that stuff, and get them to do, they're all doing hand movements and twirling around, and, and we all sing and everything. So it's no different really. And the bonds, you'll find that the people bond just like they do in the doing it live. Running live, I've had people numerous times now become best friends from doing the 10-week program. Because it's over 10 weeks and they're seeing each other every week and they're sharing so much from their heart, they really do connect at that level. And there's been a number of them that have become best friends from doing the 10-week program.
Lovely.
Isn't that great? And online, you still have that bond that you have. That's on a physical level. So that's the first. Okay, so coming back to this here. So just to get ready for it, you would first of all review the material, because you need to obviously know what it is that you're saying each week, right? So you get that all ready. The next part is that once you've got that, you can create some growth worksheets. So inside the actual manual itself, each week it has what the growth work homework is, what they need to do for the next week. So I've just created sheets that I add in. So when I send it to them, or when they have the access to material, they have a sheet which has all the points that they need to do for that particular week coming up. Right. So then the next thing you would do is that you need to create a file. This is how I've done it, is to create one Word file or a PDF which contains the handouts that are going to be used for each session. So once you've reviewed it and you know what material you're using in each week, so in week 1, say, they need the 9 points of philosophy, they need to get the song that they're using, and I send that to them before. So I have a file that says week 1 handouts, before week 1, handouts. Then I have another file that says week 1 after class handouts. So it will have the growth work in it. It has the shoulds and coulds, because I want them to do that as homework. I added what you believe as another out of the manual. So I get them to do that as homework as well. So I have those, what affirmations they need to say, you know, it's on that growth worksheet. So that's one file with all those handouts. And then, so you go through every week working out what you need before and what you need after. Right? And I create them as one file so it's easy to manage. You don't have to be then thinking, oh gosh, I've got to send 4 files. You can just have one and it's all together. All right. Sometimes with the handouts, I like to not necessarily give them the handouts beforehand. So if we're doing one of those exercises, just say that belief work, just say if I was doing that online, or desirability from week 2, I don't want them to necessarily see that handout before the class, right? Because I want them to, you know, to be in the class. So I actually would have that set up on a PowerPoint presentation, the questions that are on that handout, and just like I'm doing now, I would ask them the first question and that's all they see, and then they write it down, and then I ask them, click on my screen and put the next question, and then they do it. And I'll show you, if you like, at the end of this how you can do this. Would you like me to do that? How you can set up the dot points on a PowerPoint?
Yes, please.
I would.
Yes.
Yes.
Good point.
Yes.
And I've got it. I actually have it as documented in the handout as well, by the way. So you'll have it how to do it.
Okay.
So
You are amazing, girl.
oh, thank you.
Great.
Thank you. So, okay, so we've got, is everyone okay there now? So we've got the handouts, we've got what we're going to be doing, we know what's going where. When I run it, now when I did it live, I didn't have a Facebook group. In those days, you didn't even have Facebook when I first started doing it. Like, seriously. In what I've been doing lately, and even with the live programs, I started running a Facebook group in conjunction with the program. And the reason for that was that it was a really great way to communicate as a group. So I could post up a message saying, this week, like, well, for the live ones, say, not the live ones, the online ones, I might go, okay, this week we're going to need the mirrors. You know, don't forget to have your mirror handy. Or this week daylight saving changes, so the time zones are going to be blah, 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 or whatever. So any messages that you need, people would respond, people would put in affirmations. I might post up affirmations into the group. I in the Facebook group itself, I also have in the description of the Facebook group, I put in the link that they're going to be using every week. So that way, if they can't find the link, they just have to go into that Facebook group, and from there they can click on the description, and then they can click on that link. Now, do you know about Facebook groups? That there are 3 different types of Facebook groups?
Yeah, there's private, right?
Yeah, so you can have, there's 3 different groups. There's a secret one, there's a closed, and there's a public. So a public one means that anybody can see anybody that's in it, and they can see all the content, right? We don't want that. Like, you don't want that, right? The other one, a closed one, that means that people can see who is in the group, but they can't see the content. And a secret one means that people can't see the people, they can't see the content, they can't even see the group unless they know that the group exists. Right? And that's what I tend to do. I tend to do secret ones because people might not want other people knowing that they're doing this work. Like they might not, we don't know what's happening in people's lives, you know, so I just tend to have the secret groups. And I have a separate one. Each class I run is a separate group, so that just the people in that class can communicate with each other.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
You know, with all the stuff that's going on with Facebook right now, like even if you have all this intimate sharing going on a secret group, is there any way that this can ever, you know how like stuff that goes up on Facebook stays up there? Are there any issues around this that we're aware of? Or
I tend to find in the Facebook group itself, people don't share a lot of stuff, personal stuff in there.
Okay.
Necessarily. It's more on that happens like in the class.
It's more like encouragement and upbeat stuff, don't you think?
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. And
Okay.
yeah. So
Or
it's
that
not,
maybe they would connect privately to talk about something
Mm-hmm.
more
Okay. Good.
in depth.
Yeah.
Thank
Do
you.
you create a Facebook group for each group of 10 weeks?
I do.
So that they all have individuals. So it's not anyone that's taken the class. It's all individual. Okay.
It's only those people, yeah. And that way, and they can't, and then so somebody who's in one 10-week group can't find another 10-week group because they're secret. They can't, unless they know the link to actually get into that group, they won't ever see it.
So once the class is over, the workshop's over, do you close the group? No, you keep it running.
I just leave it. I don't go in it and do anything with it, but I leave it there just in case somebody wants to post something. It doesn't really matter. I would probably look at what's in it, and you might feel that you might want to get rid of it depending on what's in there, but it doesn't really worry me that much. What's in there. Yeah. I mean, you may not feel comfortable doing a Facebook group, and that's perfectly fine. I post all the handouts up into the group. That's how I do it, and I'll show you how you can do that. But it's definitely in the handout how to do it, how you can post it, and I've got it on a slide as well when we get there. When I get to working with that group, when I'm actually get to running the day. This is just getting ready, but when we're actually doing it, I'll show you how you can post it up. So I put all the handouts into the Facebook group. You may not want to. You may want to send it out by email. That's perfectly fine. Like it's whatever suits you and how it works for you. That's the best thing. So then once so we're getting ready. So we haven't even really done anything yet. We've got our program set. We know what our handouts are. We've got our files ready to go. We've got the group ready. There's nobody in the group at this point in time. There's just you, right, in the group. And then the next thing is that you'd get the email invitations ready. So you want to have, in the handout that I'm going to send you, Patricia's going to send you, there's a copy of the emails that I send out. So I used that one that we had, the one when it said copy invitation, and it came up with that starting point invitation. I used that, but I also add in it, so I've added in there obviously the instructions on how to download Zoom. So go to zoom.us, please make sure you do it prior to the first session, because otherwise I've had people, I'm late because I just was downloading Zoom. Then the next part is, getting them to test their audio and video, because I've had people on that day coming in and going, and the video doesn't work, and then you're trying to have to coach them to get the video, which means that other people are then being delayed, so it's getting them to test that everything works before. Maybe setting reminders in their calendar. So I have that as part of my email to just, making sure that they purchase a copy of the book, You Can Heal Your Life, because we use it. The study group uses that book every week. They have to read chapters out of the book. So they need to have access to it, whether they buy it or borrow it from the library or whatever, it doesn't matter, but they need to have a copy of the book. And I've got some chats happening. And the next thing is that the Zoom link. So I would post that Zoom link in and say that it's going to be the same link to be used for every class. And then I just tell them that we're going to be working with the Facebook group, and that I'll send another email closer to the time with the link to the Facebook group. Right, so that way you're getting another email for them to remind them again. So the second email would remind them the same sort of stuff. There's the link, download Zoom, make sure you've got the book. In the second one, I also say you'll need to have a notebook, a pen, and a mirror. I recommend getting a folder so that you can store all the handouts, all those sort of things. That's all in the second email with that Facebook link. Yeah. And of course, at that time too, if you want to, you can send the hold harmless forms if you want to use those. You can send any pre-questionnaires if you want to, like depending on what you're doing. All right, you can send all of that. All right, and the third, so that's the first 5 things. Everyone okay so far? Mm-hmm. And then the 6th thing, the last thing to do is that you need to just create PowerPoint slides or whatever it is that you're going to use to share. And it could be that you're using handouts. You're having the word handout that you've got, and you're showing that. Like, you don't have to do PowerPoint if you don't want to. And the thing is, although it's possibly a little bit of work to set it up the first time, once you've got it set up, it's set up. You don't have to really do anything else after that. It's just changing some links and maybe changing some dates in your emails and just reviewing things. But pretty much once it's set, it's just creating a new Facebook group, and you're done. Okay, so is everybody okay there? Has anybody got any questions at this point? Whoops. Everyone's okay?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Have you found that consistent attendance is better online than live for the 10-week?
Pretty much, it is consistent. It does depend. Like, if I've got on numbers, if I have numbers and something's happening, I may postpone a week. I'm pretty flexible, so I can actually say, okay, so many people can't come, like this is like live, whatever, let's just go the next week. And the same as online. Sometimes, depending on what happens, I may postpone a week, but pretty much it's consistent. People come, we ask them in the beginning to commit to coming to the 10 weeks, and they pretty much do unless something else is happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was just thinking that maybe attendance would be better online when people don't have to, drive and all of that.
Yeah. And I always send them the recording after. If they can't come online, I send them a recording, so that way they're not going to miss out on what's happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they can keep working, and then they're sort of up, they can do the exercises and whatnot and be ready for the next week. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so we're all ready now, and we you've done your marketing, you've got the people that you want to come, so we need to now run it. So, okay, so to run the session, obviously first thing you do is you'd be starting Zoom. So you're start Zoom. I change my name so that it's, got me there, and I'm ready to go. And the class comes in. People come, and really it's just, I just follow the notes. Like, I follow what's in my handout. I play the song as it comes in. If I'm doing any questions like the observability, I might run PowerPoint, put the questions up. Not every week will I run PowerPoint. It would just be depending on what the work is that we're doing. I get them to they answer the question, they write it down, and then we share. Depending on the week, we might do the breakout rooms. So it really just depends on the week. It's just running it, playing the music. Yeah. Does anybody have any questions, like, about the actual session itself?
May I ask, please, Angie?
How could you play a YouTube music off of YouTube?
You can share the screen. You can share the application, which happens to be Chrome or whatever it is, and you'd have it set up to be running.
Okay.
You'd have that YouTube video set, like, ready to go. So all you have to do is go there, click the play button, so you can share it. Yeah. And then that way, if you have it set when you're sharing, that that computer sound option that we saw, they'll hear it through their computer, not through the microphone part.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's just a case of having that. That's what the application is when you actually, that's what you select, is the Chrome or the, Internet Explorer or whatever it is that your browser is. Yeah, ready to go. Yeah. Okay. So is sorry.
Can you hear me, Angie?
Sorry, Leanne, were you asking a question?
I was. I'm not sure if you can hear me or not. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm very, very soft.
Like, quiet little voice I have. Can you hear me now?
Only just.
Only just. I'll try and speak louder. Just a question on marketing. How do you find the best use of getting people to know about your online course? What techniques do you use?
I know that I tend to do it online, so I'm doing it basically through Facebook, doing ads or emailing out to my email list and things like that. I know that Patricia has a course on marketing, specially designed for marketing HYL programs that Damien runs.
Yeah, that one though is actually for using meetup groups, which are in person, to build your list. So it's very focused on meetup. Yeah.
Ah, okay. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it is, I mean, it's a great way to do it, especially if you really love in-person kinds of things, because you could do some of that and then get some people onto your online programs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So it's just a case of going out there, having a presence on Facebook, and then advertising it. If you're doing it that way, that's how I tend to do it. But I used to go and put flyers up on notice boards and all sorts of things, to let people know that you're running.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's just a case of running it. And if you have 2 people, just run it, because every time you run it, you get experience and you learn, and then the next time you grow, because it's as well. It's helpful to you. Every time I run it, I love it. I can tell when I'm not running and doing the work because I'm not doing the work. You know what I mean? Like if I don't do the work. So we'll all be the same. We've got it. I just love it doing the programs. So yeah. So just keep doing it. It's great. So okay. So is everyone okay with running it? So it's really a case, like I was saying. So we do it just like you would do it live. You work through whatever there is. And then the last bit then is when we're ending it. So at the end of the session, so it's all finished, everyone says goodbye, and we would click on, when we're ending, we actually click on end meeting for all. So you don't see that. You would only have a leave meeting option, I think. So as the facilitator, you see an end meeting for all. So when you click on end meeting for all, it will come up with a message on your screen, and Zoom will say that it's converting the meeting recording. Okay. And that can take a while in itself because it is going to be an hour and a half or so of time. So at some point that will actually convert, and you will get notification that it's actually converted it. And then when you go into the folder where it stores it, I'm getting
an echo.
An echo.
Yeah.
I need to. Maybe we can mute. I don't know. Is it still there? No, it's gone. When you open up the folder where it stores it, so remember I was saying it goes into Documents, Zoom, and then it creates a folder for that particular session. It will have these 4 files. So it'll have the audio only. It has any chat text, right? So depending if you're coaching and things like that. Playback just means you can double click on it and it will open up and play on your screen so you can watch it. And then the Zoom, the MP4, same thing. You can double click and it will open up too. But that's what you would use to send to people. So you can't actually send them that because it's very large, and email systems that won't take that, right? So what you have to actually do is you send them a link to it, and so you need to actually place that Zoom file, up on something like YouTube. So how many of you have used YouTube? I'll just stop the share for a sec.
Yeah, I put them all in Dropbox myself.
Okay, that's another way you could do it. You could use Google Sheets, Google Docs as well. You could put it, up there and give people a link to that. Yeah, that works.
Because if you put it on YouTube, it would have to be a secret one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly, and that's the thing. It has to be unlisted. Right. You need to. That's really important. Is you make sure that it's unlisted. Because if it's unlisted, then it means that people can only see it if they know the link to get to it. Yeah. So that's what I do. So that's great. And I'll put that in the notes to say that you could put it into Dropbox. If you use Dropbox, you could use put it into Google as well. I tend to push it up to YouTube and convert it, and then you get a code, like a share link, which I then place just into an email. And I send it to the specific person or people that didn't come. They're the only ones I send the recording to. I wouldn't send it to the whole class. Yeah.
Are they able to go back and listen to the class?
The
people that were attending.
Only because I don't send them the link.
Oh, so you don't send it after each class so that they can go back and review or anything?
I don't. I only send it to the people who didn't come. But that would be up to you. Like, obviously, you could do that if you wanted to. Just send it out to the whole class if you wanted to. I just don't tend to do that. Yeah. So it's just a case of copying really the link that you get from YouTube once you've uploaded it. If you're doing YouTube, you just copy that link and place it straight into an email, or you can set it up as a hyperlink. And I've got instructions for all of this, by the way, in the handout, so you don't have to worry. Like, you can just go step by step, because I know it can be like, holy, like, what's going on? Oh my God. I understand. I don't want to overwhelm you, but I want to make sure that you've got everything that you need to do it. And once you've set it up once and done it once, it's not that much, really. And now that I've been doing it so many times and it's all set up, literally every session, before every session, obviously I review every session. Even though I've run it so many times, I still review every session before I run every session. And, I would, to make sure, like, do I need to do I need to do the handouts before? Is this week one of the weeks I have to get the handouts upline? Have I got the songs? Are they playing? What number track is it going to be? All that sort of thing. I just go through it all, make sure I've got everything. Yeah. And it doesn't take that long once you've done it. It might take you half an hour to review it beforehand, but at least, brings it fresh into your mind as well, what you're going to be teaching that next session.
How do you price your online?
Me, I price it, actually depends on what we're doing, but I price it in Australian dollars, which is different to the US dollars.
Right.
But I price it at $4.97 and then drop it down to an early bird like of $3.97. So it just depends obviously on what currency you're at. I think $3.97 is probably about $3.20 US.
Well, let me just say though, what I've found, because Rick and I do work in so many different countries, is the absolute number is about the same in every country. So a $10 lunch in Australia will get you about the same as £10 in the UK, about the same as $10 US in the US. So I think your absolute number is probably right on.
So yeah.
So 397 for the 10 weeks in the US, or 397 pounds in the UK.
Wow.
So it works out, when you think about it, it works out to what, about $40 roughly per night. That's pretty good really when they're doing that length of time, and then they're getting all the handouts and all the other work and everything. So
yeah.
When you think about it like that, what is that? That's what, $6 a day?
Yeah, and especially they're getting, the Facebook group. I mean, there's some extra things in there as well, so that's good.
Yeah.
And do you find they like it more than doing the weekend? All at one time, you find people like it more week after week after week in this format, like this?
I've done both, and I love both. The reason why I started going to the 10-week was because I was working full-time, and I found that working full-time and doing a whole weekend, it was just a lot for me. I found it hard to manage. Just for me personally, because I give a lot when I'm doing it. I'm sure that everyone else here is the same. Like, we give. I would be very tired and then have to back up again to do work. Like, for me, it was just, I couldn't do it. You could do one Saturday, then another Saturday or something like that. But that was just me personally, right? So I love the 2-day one. But I found that by doing the 10-week, that people were just working, because they were doing the affirmations every day for 10 weeks. The change was just amazing. To see their face in the beginning, I keep saying I should take a photo of their face in the beginning and their face at the end, because by doing it every day for 10 weeks, doing the affirmations, doing the mirror work, massive transformation. And every single person has had massive transformation. Life decisions have been made. People have left relationships. gone to university, they have started their own businesses, they've written books, it is amazing, what people have done. Their incomes in their businesses have tripled. It's just yeah.
So it keeps it in the forefront, because a lot of times they come to the weekend and then maybe that next week or two, they're still, motivated, and then it starts to wane off. So this actually keeps them engaged longer, which we know it flips that switch around 25 or 30 days. So keeping them engaged longer. So I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. It's great. It just seems to, work. I just love it. And that's why I do it. I do it pretty much back to back. I, finish one and I give myself a little bit of time in case I have to postpone one of the weeks or whatever. And then I'm back in again. Because I just love it. It just, like I said to you, it just changes people's lives so much, Yeah.
Do you do it in the evening? So if people are working, they can.
Yeah, I do.
Do you do the same day? So it's a consistent, it's every Wednesday or every Friday or, okay.
Yeah, I do. I do it on a Tuesday. So, and you would work what days work with you, what times work best for you and for your people. We have time. We have just come out of daylight savings, so that was a bit tricky because, 100 kilometres up the road, or actually 50, not even that, was a different time zone. So trying to work out how you can have people that's not too late in the evening at one end, but not too early at the other end, to try to get, so that can be tricky. And America's got time zone. You've got time zones, so you're all used to working with time zones. So, yeah.
What's the fewest number of participants you've had on a 10-week
2
program?
2, 3. Sometimes I've had that in the beginning when I was first starting off, doing things like that. And you know what? It's great. Yeah, they share, they connect, they learn, they really, and it's always good experience for you. It's always good to do it. Doesn't matter how many you get. 2 lives, you're changing 2 lives. It's great, Most of the time now, I have more. The last one I ran, I had 8, but that was online. It just depends on, what you're doing. Because I'm running on myself, when you do the two day one, often you have someone else helping you. Then you can have bigger numbers because you've got somebody else assisting. But when you're doing it by yourself, for me personally, I just really like to make sure that it's an intimate experience for everybody, and I need to be able to connect with everybody, and I need to be able to give to everybody. And if the numbers are too big, you can't do that. I can't. You want to, I want everyone to feel that they're special and that they, you're making a difference to them, and that they feel like, they're loved and all of that. And so I don't like to have big numbers for that reason. But so has anybody got any other questions? In the handout, I will have in there some design tips for PowerPoint. So, things like, you've probably all seen PowerPoint slides where you have, they call it death by PowerPoint, and you've got 150,000 words all over it and things like that. That's detrimental to working. People, they'll try to read it and then they can't hear what you're saying because they can't do both things at once. So you want to have very minimal number of words or things on slides, which colours work best. Animations, have you been to PowerPoint places where people decide to have all sorts of things, and you've got them coming in here and then they're flying up here and then they're flipping around and then they're doing that and there's actually studies that people can get motion sickness from watching PowerPoint slides like that. Serious. It makes you feel sick when you've got all this stuff going on. So to keep that to a minimum, they're the sort of things to do, and I'll show you in a second how you can create those dot points if you like. So, but anyway, that's all in the handout as well, so I'm not going to give you all that stuff now because it's obviously too much, but you'll be able to get to it when you get to it. When you start doing the PowerPoint slides, you can get to that. So all right, so I'll end the record. I'll go over here now, and I'm going to go into PowerPoint. All right, now, so I'm going to share the screen again. And this time I've got PowerPoint itself open. Okay, so can you see my PowerPoint slide?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And I'll just move my toolbar down. Okay, so that's my slide. And if I was going to be creating this, you would type text. So I've got 3 text boxes. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So the area that does what you're doing when you're bringing one thing on at a time, it's called animations. So you would choose the animations tab. So put the text in first, and then you would just click on animations. And you'll see at the moment it's all pretty grayed out. Right. So once I click on a text box, you'll see now that it became active.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see? So this is the area here. So if I just click on appear, so I just want them to come like you saw. I don't want any fancy dropping up from the top or bottoms or anything. So I just click on appear, and see how it places a number 1 to the left of it. All right. So then I just click on the next one and go appear, and then I click on the next one and go appear.
Mm.
And if I don't like the order, over on the right-hand side, there's a reordering option, so you can change the order of things if you want to, right? Which we don't want to, but just say we did. So is that all good? That's it. That's all you have to do. When you run the slide now, hang on, I'll just go to the last slide. Oh. Sorry, I'm just going to go very quickly to the end, which is where I have it. So there's the heading, right? So this is the slide I just did. And when I click again on PowerPoint, the first one comes in. And when I click again, the second one comes in. And then when I click, the third one comes in. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty easy, hey?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, and I like doing that because, like I was saying, when I'm doing the things, I don't want people to see the next questions that they're getting. So I just want them to answer that one and then answer the next one, so that way they can't see what's coming on. So, yeah. Okay, so I think we're all done. Has anybody got any questions? Have I answered everything that you've got, all your questions? And
I think the next step is going to be to practice with someone before a real program, but to practice. I learned some wonderful things from you, and I've already done some Zoom calls. So, I'm going to practice some more for sure.
Right, yeah. Yeah,
I've got Rick. I can practice with him.
That's it. That's what you want. Yeah, find someone to practice. Exactly. And practice is the key. And it might look, oh, thank you.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Just in case you can't hear me properly, but thank you.
My pleasure.
Yeah, this has been great. Thank you, Angie.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
But you will actually all get the recording, so you can watch other parts of it again. And yeah, and you'll have Angie's email as well, so you could email her, ask me questions also. But I'm just thrilled. We had a lot of people sign up. A lot of people didn't show up because of the time zones. But I'm just really thrilled because we've been asked so many times in the last probably 6 months to 8 months about how can we do this online? And, for the most part with all the sharing, it's great. And the only things you can't really do online is the anger releasing and the hug song. Angie, I know you said you do the inner child exercise. I would be a little careful of that one because I have had in the past somebody kind of break down, not on that particular exercise, but on one that was a surprise to me. So, but for the most part, you can do everything, on the sharing, especially the 10-week that you would do in person. So it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank
you.
Thank you
very much.
Bye. Good night. Good night. Good morning. Whatever it is in your time zone. Good morning, Babu. Thank you for coming up so early.
Thank you.